one. And the challenges, of course, here had been that competition from private players. They suddenly drop the price. What happens is that particular that cushioning or that luxury won't be there with these small groups. The private player can take the risk or chance of not getting profit for the first year. So they did drop the price. So this was the challenge that came up. So now that group, they are discussing what to do. Should we also follow it, or should we actually make farmers aware of the scenario so that farmers will believe in you and take it up. So this is an example. And then I will come to the case study of nursery enterprise. Validation of our model, which we by basic facts and figures and third party study, what did we find out? So there are 4 nurseries in the state of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana where we had promoted. 90% of them are SC and ST communities. Actually mostly ST community, they are tribal community families, and majority of them were daily casual laborers, either in agriculture work or non-agricultural work, which was very inconsistent, that you all understand. So it is daily casual labor, and their monthly earnings, this is the baseline profile, so it ranged at 2,000 rupees or lower when they joined the group. And this is about age profile. So if we see, majorly the age profile is 26 to 35 years. Means the women who had been into work, earning for their family, they actually opted for it. It is not like youngsters or someone has taken it, because they found value in this. That is the basic thing. Profile. Then we come to the profit and loss account. Out of 4, 2 had turned profitable, 2 are yet to make it this year. We hope that this year it will happen. So there are these cost items where infrastructure expenses are also mentioned. Infrastructure expense is the initial capital support provided by bank linkage or ITC's money. Then all the expenditures, that working capital has come from ITC or banks, and then what did they earn? So they did sell 10 lakh saplings, means what do we say, 1 million saplings were sold by them. Saplings by seedling, the plant material they have sold to farmers, and this translates to around 1200 acres. 1200 acres of area has been planted by doing this. So from farmers side who purchased from them, if you look at, the advantage has been that they got good quality seedling close by, because the nursery was in the village itself. Otherwise they were supposed to get it from far away. From women's side, so if we look at, there are 2 things. One is the labor wage, this one, that item, so that had gone for the members themselves. The members were the workers in the group, and they had got that wage bill, and then there is a profit. So very meaningfully, of course, which is something that correlates with how men think and how women think. Though we did not generalize so strongly as was done earlier, but still the trend is there. So they have very meaningfully had taken up repayment to the working capital, and there was definitely certain dividend that was shared by the group. So they also have a fixed deposit to just take care of any uncertainties, if at all, in future. So our objective, of course, is like this year, the target they had set is that they will diversify into other species, and they will also sell outside ITC's assured sale process. Means ITC procures and gives it to farmers. But rather than that, they also want to do retail business. So that is how they will become self-sustainable. So this is about profit and loss account. So let us keep linking this with the initial objectives. Are we in the same direction, or are we getting into too many things? See, we should be focused. Otherwise what happens is the focus loss, so some good thing, some bad thing, all these things divert our attention. So the initial objective, when I said sustainable business enterprises, so one of the objectives here we talk about. Then the findings by the third party agency when they had done, the nurseries had been efficient sapling suppliers. Means they did supply sapling. It is not that they have become profitable. The major thing is that they did reach out to the target. Otherwise, ITC's business will say, I can't work with these groups next year. Only when they prove themselves, they can do that, and such a huge area, 1500 hectares actually, not acres, which means 3250 acres of the area was covered by these saplings they had supplied. And for many women this was first time, but they had picked up. This is the good thing that has happened. They did pick up because of the technical training and the interest they had shown. And the basic primary benefits or advantages they realized is that it is proximity to home, close to their house, better work environment, and regularity in payments, which of course they pay for themselves through bank accounts, not as cash. There is no cash dealing here, and less drudgery. So drudgery is something which was very specifically not mentioned in the objectives, but definitely this is one thing which they have found. And then the impact on average incomes. So as I said, the earlier pre-scenario is there and the post-scenario. So the most significant shift happened in rupees 4,000 to 5,000. If you see the prior, means before and after for all the 4 nurseries. So there are different bands, which I don't know if you can see from there. So rupees 1,000 to 2,000 was the band, and the dominating was 2,000 to 3,000. Whereas after the work, the 4,000 to 5,001 dominated in this particular area. Whereas here it is 3,000 to 4,000 has dominated. So what is happening? Where do they start and how are they moving towards? How the progression is happening? For all the 4 nurseries, there was a study done for all the women members. So it is again meeting that objective of improving their income. So we relate it back to the thing. So we are in right direction. We can improve of course further, but we are in right direction. But as a suggestion it came up is that we started with few species, eucalyptus, subabul. So these are not round the year employment generators. So there should be diversification quickly so that round the year they get employment. Otherwise it is some 7 to 8 months vigorous employment. So later they won't get so much. And then impact on running enterprise. See, this is something which is very, otherwise it can't be sustainable and we can't come out. So how did the nurseries say? The basic thing is who takes decision. This is the question that was posed. So who takes decision? So if we can see all group leaders has dominated, which is a good sign. But what we want to see is all members. This band increases going forward. So as a first step, definitely all group leaders together take decision. It is not 1 or 2 influential or dominating persons taking decision. But we should actually make this band bigger, a green one, so that all the group members take the decision. So this is something in correlation with making the enterprise self-sustainable. And this is about human development indices. So what all important changes? So it's about recollection and what they have invested the money in. The members have mentioned. So it is about household finances. Own health means investment in health and family nutrition was one, and then repaying loans, the other loans which they have from non-formal sector, ability to educate children, and savings also has come up. Of course there is also a category of not much change, which is the scope for improvement on which we have to work. So basically there are other things also like job security, the increased respect and confidence. These are all the linked benefits that come from the model. But more than that, whether our objectives are being achieved, so definitely it validates the point that of course yes, but there is huge scope for improvement. It's just after 2 years of the program initiation. And in conclusion, what I would like to say, this is how we at this stage consider. So it's again an ongoing reforming process which will get reformed. So women have great ability to come together and run their own enterprises when right investment is done in the area of capability building. Otherwise what happens is they definitely come together, but that managing group, managing books of accounts, all these things, if it is not done, it gets diluted or dysfunctional. And there is some strength which ITC has brought in. It is not as funding the program, it is not as a corporate giving money to the program, it is giving market support. See, all these initiatives, the cocoa beet, the wheat crop, we work with farmers. So they are our farmers, so we are linking the women to provide the services to wheat crop. Then we are having this nursery, means all this happening we have procured and then gave it to farmers. So that initial market support plus technical. Because we are into this, we trained the women. These are the strengths we have added value to the program. And the NGO strength in working in grassroots area is of course a great strength which can be left out or without which we shouldn't attempt too many things. They are there, they are very important stakeholders in the program. And agriculture sector needs small and marginal farmer friendly technical solutions and investment. So one such solution is collective enterprise, because then they get bank linkages, individual farmer may not get. So they are getting bank linkages for agricultural implements, starting nurseries and all, and helping the farmers in the village. So this is what we have, at this stage, we have thought about the program, and rest is up to you. Thank you.
Okay, I think you'd like to keep a copy here because we will circulate it.
I will copy it in the desk.
Yeah. What about questions? I'm sure you will have a lot of questions. Sir, Vijay. Some questions.
How do you manage to ensure that you have rentability even with all those activities? How is it, I mean, in the day-to-day work, how do you control the fact that all your activities...
You mean profitability,
Profitability, exactly.
Yeah, profitability.
Day-to-day work of ITC or the women groups?
Sorry?
Whose day-to-day work? ITCs or women groups?
Women groups.
Women groups. See, it is like this. Initially, there is a lot of time taken in creating the capability. We never jump into the activity. So it is somewhere 6 months or more also. So it is about how will group function, how will you save money, how will you keep books of accounts, all these things. And then do you really want to get into any entrepreneurial activity, or your current livelihood scenario is good? So there is a lot of discussion and mobilization, awareness, all that in that area. Then the group is mentally and capability wise fit to take up an activity. So it's not like there is a person who is actually monitoring on day-to-day basis. More on technical basis, yes. Like when we talk about the nursery, so the seedlings have to be cut, they have to be dipped in growth hormones, put in mist chamber, then hardening, all those. There's technical. In that definitely initial years, there's a person there. There's a technical supervisor who works in ITC nursery, deputed there. You go and help the women. So the person was deputed actually. So that person is there on day-to-day basis. Otherwise, the capability building before starting the activity is more crucial. Otherwise, what happens is on daily basis, there will be an issue of distrust. They will say, am I being paid right? Because if they feel like paid workers, not as owners of the group, all questions start. They are owners. By evening, they will sit together, I didn't like this, why don't we change? That's how the discussion happens. So, we don't need so much of hand holding in terms of day-to-day books maintenance.
Yes, Kiran.
Actually, I have two questions.
Yeah.
First, that you said that all leaders in nurseries they take decisions. So, what kind of decisions were you talking about? Was it like whom you sell and how much you sell? And second question, like during the time under the current framework, so during the time of drought, what is there any steps that IBC take to mitigate the risk?
Drought, in the times of drought.
Yeah. Both are very apt questions. So the decisions when it comes, so it's about definitely the price, procurement. See, initially first time, where to get trays, where to get the raw material, different raw material, growth hormones, all that, is NGO helping them, of course, with ITC's vendors list and all. But then it's up to them. They have to decide, this vendor was not so good, I won't go with this vendor. So why do we do? Or that fellow last time we were waiting and that guy never turned up. So this is one major thing, bringing in efficiency and reducing cost. And the other thing is, see, they actually make a lot of decision making flexibility, timings. Sometimes what happens is, okay, that particular lady, there is about compassion now because they are all from same village or same type of profile. So it is not like 9 to 5 type thing. So they take the decision, let this woman come 10, 10:30, the first thing, and she will extend the working hours. Or maybe she will go on the piece basis rate. She won't take the daily wage because for this 5-6 months she can't do that. So those type of ones are more crucial, which makes it more successful. If you see the benefit like proximity, all those things, flexibility, that is where the advantage comes in the decision making. And they also, like, there's something like crush that is women had decided, because in one place, if you see that age group, normally in rural India, by that age group they don't have infants, but still there are some of them who have infants. So they decided that there will be crush in I think so. Who will take care? One of them or some expert? So that type of decision making. So then the help happens. ITC and NGO are there to help them. But it is not like we say, why don't you have a crash? As per labor policy, this is what has to be done. That is not. The second thing is about risk mitigation. Definitely again the help, like ITC had forced its insurance companies to insure these women's stocks. Otherwise at that scale, that size, they are not so keen. So those things we do try, but the challenge is that as a model, as a group, when, it is not tomorrow that I am there for those 4 groups. There will be 100 such nurseries. So a template like it should also create keenness or interest for the insurance companies. So that type of thing is what we are working for. We did face, it's not drought, it heavy downpour. So there was heavy downpour, saplings died. So those issues happened. So because of the insurance coverage, that could be. Thanks.
Okay, yes. What's your name?
Anand.
Yeah. Here's your name. Yeah, anyway, you asked.
Actually, ITC is known for its aggressive scaling once the initiative is like settled. As in the case of ITC Chopa, like from working with few thousand to working with 4 million farmers. So what are the scaling plans for these 4 initiatives? And second question is like, these 4 initiatives are like, ITC's involvement is very different. So like in case of the saplings, ITC is giving captive market to the women entrepreneurs. But in another case like training the women in agriculture in Rajasthan and Karnataka, women farmers, that kind of involvement is less. So how ITC evaluate the impact of these different programs?
See, captive market, as I said, is not the solution we will look at going forward. That is where we want to bring in again. It is not about dependency, it is about self-sustainability. So this is how the initial strength of a corporate like ITC, mainly who are in agri-business, brings to the table. But the template to be developed is that tomorrow it need not be ITC's captive or same species. It is for mango, it is for guava, whatever nurseries. So we are moving towards that, diversifying and creating a template for any species. So 20-25 women come together, this is the investment, this is the technical support required, and then this is these 10-15 species they can take up, which of course depends on market. So that as a corporate we are very clear. You don't have pulling factor, you shouldn't get into any experiments with these people like I will promote native species alone, so it's good for nature, not so. So native species yes, but if there is a market also. So this is one thing how we look at even in case of nursery. So it's not captive market which is the strength, but at the same time collective farming when you say. See, it is about, in some places it is about market support, but in this case it is about efficiencies. Individually 250 odd women doing agriculture, actually these, otherwise actually this decision making was also with the men in the family. So they said, I want 2 acres of our land or whatever, and we are all pulling land and we are doing agriculture. So it's a risk, you take risk, but we want to do that, that's how it started. So there is a collective farming. So basically it is about bringing in efficiencies and also improving productivity. So the dynamics are different there. So we need to validate that model also. So I only presented one case study, whereas that validation also is there. Similarly wheat. So in wheat crop or rice crop when they are bringing in mechanization, the point is ITC has already been working with thousands of farmers in the area since long time. So there is a influencing, means ITC sphere of influence, where we can say this is how you can look at, these are the rates offered by those women group. So that linkage is what we have. So dynamics differ and it has to be case specific. But validation of each model is being done.
Okay. Yes.
I wanted to ask how do you identify regions where you want to invest?
See that,
And another one, if you facing resistance while implementing these initiatives.
see, our stakeholder boundary is very clear. That's how we could actually make an impact, because it is clearly, we work in the areas where agri-business is operating. So agri-business is procuring wheat crop in an area. So that village and that area, means it may be the Gram Panchayat or watershed area, becomes my boundary. So starting with farmers who are supplying to ITC, plus all other poor farmers and landless, all those people become my stakeholder. So this is the stakeholder boundary defined in agri areas. The other is around my factories. So they in the closer proximity of my factory, who are the communities residing, and then they are my stakeholders. So their sustainability challenges are my sustainability. So in that case, we are very clear who are our stakeholders. The other question?
You don't face any resistance while
See, it will be a bit like ghosting. We didn't face. So because this question comes problems faced by ITC, all these things. See, one thing, we ourselves are there since 100 years. Factories maybe 20 years, 25, but we are there in many of the cases. So our business is operating without resistance, first and foremost, which itself is a case of like how a business can operate without resistance only because of taking care of many sustainability aspects of the stakeholders. And then there is a strength of partner NGOs. They are also there. So they also work with communities. So ITC's own credibility, people know about ITC, plus the partners who work with them, and it's anything is about orienting. This is the case. Now it's up to them. Anything, even the work which was shown earlier, not only about women entrepreneurs, you understand. Then whether watershed development should be done, whether school infrastructure should be done, let community decide. And there is no hurry. So very unfortunate thing which we keep saying is about the 2% for companies like us, because it's not how we have looked at it as a mandatory thing. So we looked at it as part of our sustainable journey. So it's communities are, we are not in hurry to spend. That's all.
So this is regarding each of us. So in India, different social classes are present. So while going to the ground level, how do you face that difference and let ITC ensure the availability of resources to all different social classes?
Social classes. See, each opal as a model suits small and marginal farmer. As a model, because its the strength is aggregation. So a large farmer may not require each opal, they can check where to sell and they have their own truck or whatever. So the strength is aggregation. That's why soya farmers, small aqua farmers, in coffee also smaller farmers, that's how it's succeeded. So it is definitely class neutral, more of economic profile if we look at. So what happens is definitely in village sometimes it happens that certain community people don't go to the other location. So but, for every 3-4 villages one chopal is kept. So there is a survey done, this person how much he or she is approachable. So based on that only the chopal sanchalak is selected. So there definitely is a survey done, and then our key people also understand the footfalls, whether 20-30% of so and so community are never coming here, so how to reach out to them, creating awareness. Finally, when there is benefit, farmers are not so ignorant. These are all dynamics created due to, unfortunately due to many things, politics or whatever. Otherwise, when there is a clear-cut benefit, they do come. Even if they are from different parties, different caste, they don't talk with each other, there is a benefit there, economic benefit, that much they will leverage. So it should become more neutralized rather than more getting into that. But profile-wise, yes, clearly small and marginal farmer is the target.
So last question. Okay.
Building bridges to the civics case, maybe you could throw some light on your communication channels, because when you were talking about your objectives, you emphasized that one of the points was to reach the very bottom line. So do you rely only on this word of mouth politics, or?
See, I don't want to draw a comparison with CIMEX case, because that's about reaching out to customers. Whereas this is about stakeholder engagement. There is a difference. So these people are part of the sustainable business journey of ITC. Only when they are prosperous, they succeed, your business will succeed on a long term. Today, of course, I may succeed. So that's how we looked at it. In terms of communication, it is about, as I said, so there are many case-specific things that evolve, mainly in this entrepreneurship activity. Otherwise, we have larger interventions, watershed, forestry, those are very clear. So in which we have very set communication and how to create awareness, how to train farmers. These things, they evolve like, as per the local needs. So there is agriculture, there are landless or small and marginal farmer, family women. So both things, so what are the gaps in agriculture and where can they chip in and also make profit. So this is all case specific. That's why if you see all the four are of different magnitude, different interventional, what you say, method approach. They are not at all same, except that they are collectives. That is the thing. So they are collectives at different needs in that particular area. So you have to bring in, because one of the objectives states that improving agricultural landscape. You should not leave them. So agriculture also parallel should get benefited when the women are making profit. Did I answer?
Okay, I think it's been a scintillating discussion, Vijay. Before we close, I'll ask you for some closing remarks maybe. But I'd like you to understand that corporate community interventions can be of various kinds. We spoke about the different generic names. What we did not talk about is, let's say, the companies. In the last class when I presented, I showed you something about Tatas. There was a reading about Tata Trust which you must have read. So that is one approach. A second approach is one that you see in CIMEX. And you saw Vijay strongly arguing that his is neither the Tata model nor the CIMEX model. It is unique to ITC. All of these models, finally, however, look at one thing, which is sustainability. The important thing which Vijay said is that ITC is a 106-year-old company. Why is it that it has never faced or does not face stoppages, resistance, problems? It is simply because they partner with the community in their journey towards sustainability. So this is a point I might have fleetingly suggested in the last class while making the presentation. I firmly believe that while yesterday's challenges for management grads was marketing, finance, strategy and the like, tomorrow's challenge will be ensuring sustainability, making sure that all our stakeholders are happy. If that happens, only then business will be successful. Today is a black letter day in Bengal. As we sit and talk here, in Singur, there is a celebration of return of land on Supreme Court order to the farmers. So which runs contrary to, let's say, corporate interest. How can we reverse that trend? Well, this is going to stay. It's not going to be only limited to Singur. It's going to have repercussions across India maybe. The only way is to ensure that as corporate citizens, which many of you will be, you understand sustainability, you believe in it and you work towards it. If there is genuineness there, you will find that the journey will not be so difficult. Otherwise, in an overpopulated country, in a country where you have dealing with land, small marginal farmers, small parcels of land, you will have problems. Okay? Thank you so much, Vijay, for making time out of your very busy schedule. Thanks Mukul also from me. Thank you, Anish. And may I ask Sanchita and what's your name?